Meow? Batman Returns, released in 1992 and is directed by Tim Burton, who is also behind such films like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Beetlejuice, Batman, Ed Wood, Mars Attacks, and Sleepy Hollow. And this film is starring Michael Keaton, Michelle Pfeiffer, Danny DeVito, Michael Gough, and Christopher Walken. What? Oh my god! What? The Penguin! Oh my god! It's Christmas time in Gotham City, and that means only one thing, that a new crime faction is now terrorizing the people of Gotham. And that crime family is run by the disgusting, evil, mutated little creature called the Penguin. He is planning on duping everyone and thinking that he is a well-to-do person of society running for mayor and things, while Batman remains skeptical on his intentions and keeps a close eye. Meanwhile, famous businessman Max Schreck is looking to run this city out of its money and kills his secretary because she was asking too many questions. Luckily, though, she is saved by a little litter of kittens who love her and bite her little fingers and breathe into her mouth and lick her up a little bit, and then they bring her back to life, and then she becomes Catwoman. It's so adorable. This is the movie that really pissed off a lot of parents back in 1992 because Batman 89 was so cool, it was gritty, it was dark, but it was still age appropriate, and like kids could watch it, and there weren't a lot of terrible and bloody things in it. Well, Warner Brothers went all out with their advertising for this movie. They wanted toys, they wanted branding, they wanted Batman Returns at McDonald's for Happy Meals. But then when the movie comes out, all of the concerned parents were like, well, this movie is way too dark, and it's overly sexualized, and there's blood in it, and I can't have my kids seeing any of that. They'll become terrors. So this movie got a lot of grief from the upset parents at that time, which was the thing to do in the early 90s. I remember the first Ninja Turtles movie came out and parents were upset that they were actually using all of their weaponry, like the swords and sais and stuff, so that by the time Ninja Turtles 2 came out, The Secret of the Ooze, the Turtles weren't allowed to use their weapons. The only one who did was Donnie with his little stick, because it's a frickin' stick. You can't do anything with a frickin' stick. And if you don't believe me, go back and watch Secret of the Ooze. You'll find they never used their weapons. Parents at this time were crazy. But my parents were okay because they got this movie for me on VHS along with the original Batman, because I started watching Batman and I was introduced to Batman the following year with the introduction of the animated series. So I would watch this movie and Batman 89 all the time back to back. When I was a kid, I would prefer Batman Returns. Why? Because there was a lot more Batman and a lot more fighting in that movie. Here as an adult though, this movie does not hold up. The sexual situations, the sexual tension, while as a kid, I guess I really didn't know what was going on. Watching it now, it's very creepy, and it's very fucking weird. Plus, I think this is not a Batman movie. This is a Tim Burton movie. This is Tim Burton projecting his dark and weird directing soul onto the screen. It just so happens that Batman and the Penguin and Catwoman are there. The first movie felt like a Batman movie within the world of Tim Burton, but it felt like a Batman movie. This one is definitely a Tim Burton film, because there are creepy designs and creepy things and story plot points in here because it's creepy and because it's weird. I'm convinced after watching this movie as an adult that Tim Burton didn't really have a good sense of what Batman or who Batman is. Reading up on this movie, there was a quote from Tim Burton that he gave where he talked about how fascinating it was that, I have three people in this story all referring to themselves as some type of animal. And I think that's fascinating. What? What the fuck are you talking about? Yes, okay, they call themselves by animal things. Okay, cool. What else you got, Tim? Nothing? That's it? Wow. And you can tell that he doesn't have a good sense of who Batman is or the Batman lore of his villains and his villain archives, because he invents a brand new character by the name of Max Schreck, played by Christopher Walken, who is a creepy motherfucker in his own right. He creates him and basically makes him the main villain of this movie. It's not the Penguin. The Penguin seems prominent because of the design and how Danny DeVito plays him. And I think, to this day, this is the best performance that we have ever gotten from Danny DeVito. He is dialed in, he is so into this character and in his physical performance. The prosthetics that he has on all look freaking great, but he's not the main villain. The main villain is this crime boss of Max Schreck. I will say that one of the standouts of this movie is Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. that performance is still fantastic and still holds up today. Her shift from Selina Kyle before the accident, and how nervous and how crazy and how just out of her mind she is, but then once she has that accident and all those cats save her life, that's why cats are so freaking cool, her switch in body posture and how she carries herself and what she's doing with her voice, how it just goes down several different octaves, is fantastic. I love seeing performances like this from actors. She makes the movie. She is the best thing, by far, of this movie. Michael Keaton, I've said it before, he's the coolest Batman out there. He doesn't really have that much to do, in my opinion, in this movie. We actually don't get a lot of him. And this is kind of where a lot of the Batman movies of the 90s kind of fall, where it's more about the Batman villain as opposed to Batman himself. I do like his suit design, though, more than the Batman 89 suit. I do like this mechanical, it's not anatomically correct, but it's more of like an industrial body armor suit. I enjoy that. I think once you get into the abs and the pectoral muscles, and then in later films the nipples, that's where people start complaining and they're like, oh, that looks so freaking stupid. If you keep it gender neutral, if you keep it mechanical like this in Batman Returns, and hell, even Matt Reeves' The Batman, The Dark Knight trilogy, if you keep it mechanical like that, no one can fault you on the bat suit for having bat nipples or bat abs or something. A couple of years ago, I tried to convince my wife this was a Christmas movie, mainly because it takes place at Christmas, and the film ends with a Christmas line of goodwill toward men and women. But watching it that year for Christmas is when I first realized that this movie is not as great as I remember it. I wish it was, and from my childhood, again, Batman had a lot more to do in this movie. Batman does straight up murder people in this movie, but yet no one complains about that. But when Ben Affleck's Batman gets out there and starts shooting up people, oh god, it's the end of the frickin' world. Batman places a bomb on a big guy's chest and throws him into a bunker where he can escape, and he dies. That is straight up frickin' murder, and yet no one's like, oh hey, Michael Keaton, he's such a bad Batman because he did that. Check yourself before you make those comments, people. The only Batman movie where Batman doesn't kill anybody is Batman and Robin from 1997. Does he kill in the Batman, Matt Reeves' Batman? I don't think he does in there either. Huh. Interesting. I have to go back and watch it. Maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I don't remember him killing anyone. Batman Returns is a Tim Burton film. It is not a Batman film. If you like Tim Burton's style, if you like his personality and his cinematography style in film, then you'd love this movie. When I was a kid, I loved this movie just because there was more Batman, there was more fighting. As an adult, though, and diving deeper into the Batman lore and all the other Batman stories that we have gotten, this one is definitely lower on the totem pole when it comes to Batman in the history of cinema. This movie, it's not as good as I remember. I'm gonna give Batman Returns 2 out of 5 Blu-rays. I've had better. So guys, if you've seen Batman Returns, what did you think about it? What is your ranking of all of the Batman movies, and are you excited for Batman reappearing, Michael Keaton's Batman, reappearing in the Flash movie coming out this weekend? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button, and make sure you hit that bell so you know the next time I release next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.